Hello to all. Hello to all those who still consider newspapers to be the most important source of news. Watch this video to the end if you want to know the latest news about the effects of coronavirus on the US and world economy, the time to reopen jobs and schools, as well as the US election campaign.
The New York Times.
Virus batters some areas. Why does it spare others? Researchers hunting for patterns to explain wide variation in infection rates. The coronavirus has killed so many people in Iran that the country has resorted to mass burials, but in neighboring Iraq, the body count is fewer than 100. Supreme Court O'Hare Kasesby telephone. A few months ago, a coalition of news organizations asked the Supreme Court to allow live audio coverage of major arguments on gay rights and immigration. Chief Justice John J. Roberts Jr. rejected the request within hours, in keeping with long-standing practice at an institution that almost never departs from tradition. Office tools. Computer. Stapler. Seize guard. Modifying workplaces for a new world. The modern corporate office is rented for open, collaborative workspaces, in-house coffee bars and standing desks with room for Trojan computer monitors. Burden heavy as Biden seeks running mate. Advisors questo tie disacesto immigrants. Pushing obscure law long before crisis. From the early days of the Trump administration, Stephen Miller, the president's chief advisor on immigration, has repeatedly tried to use an obscure law designed to protect the nation from diseases overseas as a way to tighten the borders.
USA Today.
16,000 dead in nursing homes. Dire shortages of supplies, testing still a problem. Under mounting public pressure to increase transparency, more states are releasing information about the scourge of the coronavirus on nursing homes and long-term care facilities. The data paints a grim picture. More than 16,000 residents and staff have died, roughly a quarter of the nation's overall deaths. Worlds apart. Virus spares one neighborhood, ravages the next. Infection rates higher and poor in minority areas. Train tracks run above the intersection of Kinsey Street and Ashland Avenue, two major streets that meet on Chicago's west side. On one corner of the intersection, there's a trampoline park and new brewery. On the opposite corner, empty buildings for lease. Biden's denial a first step, not the last. Fairly or not, allegations carry political peril. Joe Biden's denial was unequivocal. That doesn't mean he put this controversy to rest. In his first interview about accusations by a former Senate staffer, Biden repeatedly declared that he never sexually assaulted Tara Reade, and he asked that the National Archives search his official personnel records for a harassment complaint she says she filed at the time in 1993.
Los Angeles Times.
Trump revises possible toll to 100,000. After predicting lower numbers 2 weeks ago, leader says virus may be deadlier as he pushes for reopenings. President Trump on Sunday sharply revised upward his projected toll of U.S. coronavirus deaths, saying that fatalities could reach 100,000, even as he defied warnings from leading public health experts and renewed his calls for a quick reopening of businesses across the country. One potato, two potato, well, a lot of potatoes. Washington state farmers sitting on $1 billion of spuds. The notice on Facebook was small and nondescript. Free potatoes donated by Washington potato growers. But that's all it took. Why it's so hard to solve housing. Affordable homes face a perfect storm. Local opposition, high costs and now COVID-19. When developer Ginger Hitsky first proposed an affordable housing complex on a parking lot in Solana Beach, she envisioned building 18 new homes for low-income families and adults, at a cost of $414,000 per apartment. Nursing homes get higher payouts for COVID patients. Some residents could be pushed out for sicker, more lucrative clients, advocates fear. The nursing home industry has been devastated by the coronavirus, with outbreaks killing thousands of elderly residents and likely setting the stage for both increased regulations and huge legal liabilities.
The Wall Street Journal.
Lobbyists step up their bid to sway virus aid. Business, labor groups seek rescue funds as Republicans signal that assistance could slow. Lobbyists for business groups, labor unions and nonprofit associations are shifting into high gear as Congress considers the next round of aid to combat the economic fallout of the coronavirus pandemic. Around the world, nations struggle with whether to reopen. Faulty foreign masks raise alarm. U.S. regulators and state officials are finding a significant number of imported N95-style masks fall short of certification standards, complicating the response to the coronavirus crisis and potentially putting some frontline workers at greater risk. Recent tests by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health found that about 60% of 67 different types of imported masks tested allowed in more tiny particles than U.S. standards normally permit. How Florida dodged worst predictions. Local leaders decided to shut down, and people stayed home before statewide order. When the coronavirus pandemic swept toward Florida, public health professionals nationally warned of a potentially devastating wave of infections that could imperil the state's large senior population.
Chicago Tribune.
Pressure is on for governors. Political divisions emerge as Midwest leaders weigh safety versus unemployment. As the coronavirus pandemic spreads across America, many of the nation's governors find themselves in a political vice, squeezed between pressure to reopen local economies amid record unemployment and to keep citizens safe from a highly contagious disease. People are frightened. Across rural Illinois, economic frustrations mix with anxiety over COVID-19. Cindy Backstein worries about her 88-year-old mother, who lives in a lockdown Jasper County nursing home, where dozens of people have been infected with COVID-19. Nations report worrisome new infection peaks. Russia and India among those with alarming spikes. While millions of people took advantage of easing coronavirus lockdowns to enjoy spring weather, some of the world's most populous countries reported worrisome new peaks in infection Sunday, including India, which saw its biggest single-day jump yet. Uncertain summer. Camps deal with tough decisions to the concern of owners, parents and kids. Come each June, children would flock to Meredith Rogowski's Arts and Crafts Camp to make creative projects with colorful balls of yarn, paint, fabric and other materials. Pritzker, state must continue to adhere to restrictions. Illinois must stay the
Washington Post.
Virus revives liability battles. Worker suits a worry as economy reopens. Congressional leaders are girding for a huge fight over the re-entry of millions of Americans to the workplace, with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, R. Kentucky, insisting that employers be shielded from liability if their workers contract the coronavirus. He appears to have the backing of top White House officials. Race toward a vaccine pushes science to its limits. We really have never made those kinds of vaccines in large quantities. How quickly can that be done? We're not going to be able to say in 18 months that we have enough for all the world's people to be immunized with 2 doses. Catherine Edwards, a professor of pediatrics at Vanderbilt University School of Medicine on pharmaceutical companies' efforts to fast-track the development of a vaccine for the novel coronavirus. Ian Hayden, a healthy 29-year-old, reported to a medical clinic in Seattle for a momentous blood draw last week. Biden allegation presents a fundamental test for number metu. Democrats and activists struggle with 2020 hopes, movement's message. Joe Biden, discussing sexual assault claims in early 2018, told PBS flatly, women should be believed. On Friday, facing his own accusations, he stressed on MSNBC the importance of taking the woman's claims seriously when she steps forward and then vetted, look into it. That shift in Biden's tone reflects the way a former staffer's claim that he assaulted her 27 years ago is raising new questions for the Number Metu movement. Democrats and women's activists, eager to unseat a president they consider deeply misogynistic, are facing tough decisions over whether to stick by Biden or distance themselves, and whether to redefine what emerged as a stark rallying cry after centuries of injustice. Believe women.
Subscribe to our channel to watch and listen to British and American newspapers. Have a nice time.